skill in weapons and biotic tactics, with me as absolute ruler. If you don't want to be a part of this incredible vision, then you can get a space taxi back to planet Idiot.
I'm TJ Laser, expert with lasers and phasers. Destiny is courage.
Where are we?
Lasers and phasers. Lasers and phasers.
What is up, everybody? Welcome once again to my channel, and today let's go for another round of the WCR Championship as we are waiting for everyone to get through with their loading procedures so we can get into the qualifying session. Let's get ourselves with our track presentation. Now, round number 8 of this championship is going to take us to Russia and the Sochi Autodrome, which debuted in 2014, just after 8 months, just 8 months after the Winter Olympics of 2014 took place in that exact same Olympic complex, and after 30 years of planning and negotiations between Bernie Ecclestone and the various Russian presidents throughout that time period. The 19 corners and 2 long straights had to quite a challenge in this 5.85 kilometer racetrack with a fast average speed of 212 kpm. Heading to the challenge is of course the low grip surface and the smooth curves, which might catch out any drivers who might be looking at the track limits as a mere suggestion. Now let's get ourselves to the constructors and drivers championships. As you guys can see, we have the tables in front of us as Jensen came out of Singapore with a 3-point lead over Evil Kiwi, as Noiterate gets himself in a P3 despite not taking part of his home Grand Prix. Then we have Black Reverse in P4, Dahl in a 5th, Zor in a 6th place, followed by Overspeed in a 7th, Sticer in 8th, Biff in 9th, as Bialyuk's teammate completes the top 10. Then we have Videoton 1 point behind, as we have the duo of the Haas and Mechanical Pug and Kawaii occupy 12th and 13th. Nagi Gary is still, despite not taking part of lots of races, he's still in this table. He's still in 14th, as he's followed by Valu with Carpia in 16th place, Rolls Royce in 17th, Leglaf in 18th, JJS in 19th, and Irie closes the back. Now moving to the constructor standings, we have Williams still leading with a 39-point lead over the Scuderia Toro Rosso. We have Renault with 85 points to their name. Then we have Alfa Romeo Sauber in 4th with 66 points, 9 more than Force India, who comes in 5th place. Then we have Ferrari in 6th, Haas in 7th, Red Bull in 8th with 16 points, and then closing out the order we have Mercedes and McLaren, both with 6 points to their name. So I'm going to take that out of the way and let's get ourselves out of the menu, of the pause menu for the game. And Chronix, I can see in chat, how do you join WCR? You can try to contact me on Twitter, maybe after the race, and I'll get you in touch with the moderators and the people that are in charge of the recruitment. But you can probably find my Twitter link down in the description, and just send me a message or something and I'll speak to you after the broadcast of the stream. Now, let's take a look at our details. I want the tire compound, I want the lap data enabled as well, as we are currently with BTEC Sim Racer. The Welsh is on his debut race for the Toro Rosso. Just give me a moment, I have to take care of a little thing with the windows on my second monitor. Sorry about that, I'll fix it real quick. Let me just go. Come on, stuff is not collaborating with me. I would like to be able, god damn it, this is not I'm sorry guys, this is not collaborating with me. I would like you to come down, thank you very much, and to do that. Okay, done. Now I can see the standings from everyone. So we are currently with BTEC Sim Race, as I was saying, and we do have, you can't go into my DMs, well that's unfortunate, but yeah, just tweet me instead then, and I'll find a way to speak with you. Just let me know who you are, and I'll speak with you after the broadcast. So, as you guys can see, there's Irie in the wall. I don't know if that was him retiring by going into the wall, or if he just retired manually and the car stopped near that wall. But Sim Racer, the Welsh, it's his first race for this championship. He is a full-time driver now for the Toro Rosso team, so he's going to be side by side with Evil Kiwi as they try to take the fight for the championship lead to the Williams duo. Let's see how that one develops throughout the remaining races of the season. As you guys can see, Evil Kiwi got himself the fastest lap so far with a 1:31.1, as that wasn't the smoothest exit, even though I believe Sim Racer was trying to let some cars behind him through. As you can see, a very sideways McLaren. I'm not sure who that was. Let me take a look. Was that Zor? Let me take a look. It might have been Zor, the Frenchman, who had an amazing performance. This is the only reserve taking part of these races. He gets through the line with a 1:30.9 fastest lap. It takes provisory pole position. Valu comes home with a 1:31.017, gets himself second place. And for the first time, I believe, Evil Kiwi is beaten by a driver of the bigger sister team, if I could say that, in the Red Bull. But yeah, Zor, the Frenchman, made an amazing performance at Singapore. He took second place on qualifying, but he went on to win in dominating fashion at Singapore. It was only his second race of the season. He got in his debut race second at Belgium, and of course with the win at Singapore, he's always been standing in the podium in every single race he takes so far. So he definitely has the talent to do very well in this championship. It might be a bit too late. He entered the championship about 6 races into the championship, so maybe it might be too late for him to contest for a championship spot, but I'm pretty sure he's still able to at least get third place at the end of the championship, and his pace sure seems to look like he's capable of doing that, as you have Jensen crossing the line to a 1:30.8. That's fastest so far, so he's currently in provisory pole. Let's take a look at... No, Sim Racer is in the pits. Let's take a look at one of the Ferrari guys, as you have Bialyuk about to start his flying lap, I believe. I'm not sure, but yeah, I do believe he's about to start his flying lap. He would have a bit of a misunderstanding with his teammate at Singapore, ended up crashing out after contact with his teammate, and not only, sorry, it was Biffs who crashed out after contact with his teammate, but Bialyuk got his race massively compromised by that exchange of positions, where Biffs and Bialyuk went fighting for almost an entire lap, and of course at Singapore that cost you loads and loads of time. So not the greatest performance by the Ferrari last race weekend, but hopefully they can come back with a great race, with a great performance to come back strong and improve their championship placements. You have Bialyuk right now coming through turn 5. The glare from the track, for some reason the sun gets reflected on the tarmac there. It's quite hard to spot the braking zone, or the turning zone rather, or the turning point for that corner number 5 as you get through turn 8. I believe this is very smooth from Bialyuk as he gets now through the last corner before the second DRS zone. A very long, we could call it straight, we could call it a right hand kink. Nonetheless, it's full throttle all the way into this very tricky braking zone. You look at about 120 meters away from the corner as you go through the right and left combination. A very tricky left-hander, as well as it is off-cambered. You can lose the rear quite easily as he now misses the approach to this last chicane and loses the rear and is in the wall. Fortunately for him, he didn't crash out, but unfortunately he's going to have to limp back into the pits and get himself a replacement of front wing, brand new tires, and try another day. Now we're going to get ourselves, oh my god, that was a bit of an interesting moment between one of the Mercedes boys. I believe that was Leglaf coming out of the pits, and sorry, it was Rat actually, because Leglaf, you guys can see, is still on his garage at the moment. But we're going to take a look at where is it? It's Evil Kiwi. This is about to start his lap. Let's see if he's going to be able to improve as the biggest championship contender, I would say, apart from Jensen. Of course, Jensen is the leader at the moment, so Kiwi would be the biggest challenger to Jensen's lead. He gets himself cleanly through turn number 2. Now through turn 3, could have gotten a bit tighter, but you still have to hug that curb as if it was your favorite grandmother. Wait for the Rolex sign to break for the 4th corner of this racetrack. Of course, you can't go too far wide at the exit. A bit of a missed apex through turn 5, but nonetheless he still got cleanly through the exit. Now you just throw the car into the apex of turn number 6. Now through 7 and 8 you also throw the car. Of course, you can't go too far wide. The track limits are easily abused of on this track, but still you can't go too far away from the lines, otherwise you'll go get a slap on the wrist. Now once again, up through the gears to the second DRS zone, 100 meters away from the corner. He gets himself nice and easy through the right-hander, opens up a nice angle for the right-hander. The backhand complains a bit as he goes on the throttle, a bit blind on the approach to this right-hander. The right-hander gets a bit wide, but he managed to do what Bielyuk did not. He kept his nose clean from the exit. To turn 18 it is, wait for the shadow and get himself through the last corner as he crosses over the line with a new pole position time. It's a 1:30.817 and gets himself with provisory pole position for this Grand Prix. So great performance there from the Czech driver of the Toro Rosso. Great job from him. So we're going to take a look at Zori. Of course, he didn't take pole position by a very close margin at Singapore, but he demolished the competition in race pace at Singapore, but he decides to abort his lap at the moment. We are going to take a look at Jensen, who is, of course, still the championship leader, only 3 points ahead of Evil Kiwi, for those of you who missed the presentation of the standings. So it's going to be very close between these two until the end of the season. It will certainly be a matter of who makes the least amount of mistakes, as he's about to start his flying lap. So we're going to take a look through the record of Jensen. He won the first 3 races of the season in a row. Then he did not take part of Hungary and Belgium. Unfortunately, that's exactly what allowed Evil Kiwi to close in for that title fight. Then he came back at Italy, got 2nd place, a race that was won by Evil Kiwi. Then at Singapore, Kiwi got pole, I believe, but he didn't have as strong of a race pace as the other two, and so it was a race won by Zor, as Evil Kiwi came home 3rd, but the Williams driver got himself 2nd, and that's exactly that 2nd place that was the difference maker, as both himself and the Czech driver of the Toro Rosso were tied coming into Singapore, and that's exactly those extra 3 points that put him in 1st place at the moment, as the 91 gets himself through the exit of corner number 9, I believe that is. It's going to be wide open on that rear wing flap, up through the gears. As you can see, that blue bar on his screen right behind the steering wheel going down rather quickly. Another good clean transition out of this chicane, no slip of the rear, unlike Evil Kiwi. Very smooth, and it looked a bit cautious to me through the approach of that chicane. It's a bit blind, of course, on the entry, but very clean, very smooth lap so far. Noiderate in the meantime got a 1:30.752. Can he beat it? He's going to cross over the line and he's going to get himself a 1:30.5. What an amazing lap from Jensen. This man, the Dane, is insane. Oh my god, what a great lap from him. He's going to be rather pleased with that one. Noiderate getting himself 2nd place after not taking part of his home Grand Prix at Singapore. Got himself 2nd place so far, so he's actually quicker than Evil Kiwi at the moment, which is great to see. We're going to take a look at Black Reverse. Sorry, actually he's in the pit, so we are not going to take a look at him. We're going to take a look at the Finn from the American-based team. Kawe is just started his flying lap, it looks like. So we're going to follow him around and see what he does. So, taking a look at his record, his debut was at Belgium, and he got himself a very solid 3rd place, so he definitely is capable of some good performances every now and then. He DNF'd at Italy. I don't remember what happened, but I believe it was a crash that took him out of the race, and at Singapore it wasn't the best race from him, and he only finished in 7th place. Of course, maybe he has a bit of a weakness on the street circuits. Of course, I don't believe we have any other street circuit on the calendar. No, we do not, so we won't be able to find out, only maybe next season. But he gets himself through the 2nd DRS zone. That was a very cool shot of that very hard braking zone. Looks like he's going smooth through the exit of the left-hander. A bit of understeer on the entry though. And he gets himself nice and wide on the angle of attack for the right-hander. Is he going to the pits? Yes, he does like he's going to the pits. So he either was not improving or he just got his lap invalidated. He's getting himself to the pits. We are going to take ourselves a look at Zor. He aborted the lap we were following him on, as he's in this 2nd sector. Let's see how it goes for him. He might be taking a bit of a slipstream from the Ferrari number 15 in front of him, as he lets go the McLaren through. Let's see how it does through this last technical section. A bit of a risk there as he was accelerating on the curb. The car once again losing the rear through that transition, just like he did on his first flying lap. But he's going to get himself through the curb on the last 2 corners of the circuit. It's going to cross over the line, and it's going to be 130.3. What a lap from Zor. Valu retired from the session. He was currently in 4th, so he's not going to do better than that. He might have crashed out, as he's the first out of the drivers that got is the first of the drivers that were not below 1 minute 31. So let's see how that goes from him. Zor is now letting everyone get by him. Let's take a look at Black Reverses. I believe he's on a flying lap of his own right now. The Force India driver is on a great moment of form, as he got himself since Germany to Belgium through 3 races in a row, where he finished 6th, then he finished 5th in Italy and got a season best race finish result of 4th place in Singapore. So his form has been increasing in quality, so hopefully he might be on the cards for a podium finish today. It would be very good to see the number 13 of this Force India get himself on the Parc Fermé and on his way to a podium. It would be very nice to see that he's improving his pace throughout the season and can now battle with the big boys, so to speak. Of course, he was at the start of the season in the first 2 races at Austria and Silverstone. He got 8th and 9th, so you guys can clearly see the progression from the Belgian driver. He gets himself through this more technical 3rd sector, very nice and smooth through the right-hander, opening the angle for the right-hander as well. Sorry, I said right-hander twice. I apologize for that one. Guess I am a noob. As he's going to get through the last 2 corners, and he's going to cross over the line. Will he improve on his lap time? And he does not. So it is a 1:31.7. I don't know if he's going at it again. He is going at it again, so we are going to keep an eye on him to see what he got from that lap, as we have Evil Kiwi on a flying lap of his own. He's currently through the 1st sector. Let's take a look at Noiderate. He's just in front of the Czech driver. I would like to take a look at someone who's closer to the finish line. Kawe is just starting his flying lap. The Chronicle Pug, where is he? Is about to finish his flying lap. He's going to cross over the line as Videoton retires from the session, and he gets himself 7th place. Improves his lap time by half of a second compared to his previous lap time, and gets himself past his Finnish teammate. So great performance there from the pole, as he gets himself 7th place. Very nicely done from him. Let's take a look at Tyser, as he is currently adding himself through turn number 8, I believe that is. Let's take a look at Evil Kiwi to find out if he's ahead or behind. Okay, so we are going to jump to Noiderate, who's ahead of Evil Kiwi. Let's see how the Singaporean does at the end of this lap. He's going to get through corner number 19 once again. He's going to cross over the line and gets himself 3rd place as the checkered flag is dropped. Double G is the first to cross over the line. Evil Kiwi can't beat him, and he gets himself not better than 4th place. The Chronicle Pug also retired from the session. We have Double G, Noidroid and Evil Kiwi crossing the line. They cannot improve so far. Black Reverse couldn't improve 9th place after crossing the finishing line. Zor is currently on a pole position. He already retired, so if Jensen is going to beat him, he won't be able to respond. Let's see. We're going to have the Finn cross over the line. He's going to improve from 8th place. Yes, he does improve to 6th. We have also Jensen, on his Hypersofts, brand new Hypersofts. Is going to get himself through the last couple corners. He might have been playing with his teammates to give him some slipstream. Of course, that's allowed to collaboration between teammates. Dahl is retiring from the session. Jensen crosses over the line and he gets himself on pole position. What a lap from Jensen, and he gets himself on top. Shows why he's the championship leader, and he is on the front seat for the start of this Grand Prix. So we are just waiting for the completion of these loading procedures, so we can get to the official results. So there you have it. Jensen just less than a tenth quicker than the Frenchman, as Noidroid gets himself P3. Is alongside Evil Kiwi in the second row, Valu in P5, Kawe in 6th. Then we have BTEC Sim Racer as Necronical Pug in 8th, Black Reverse in 9th, and Overspeed close the top 10. So, of course, as you guys might know, there is the possibility of the guys on the second row with a good enough start. Of course, they are going to take the slipstream all the way into officially turn 2, but the first proper braking zone of the track. But yeah, they are going to take slipstream. They are going to be carrying maybe a better start. Of course, that depends on the technique of each other, of each driver. But the second row has a very good chance at jumping the first row of the grid for the start of this race. We didn't get any notifications from anybody regarding the potential chance of rain or not. Of course, you guys can see it's a bit overcast out there. It didn't rain. Through a qualifying, but I can just see right now we got a comment from Zor, as the Frenchman tells me he's going to have to use the wet tires, so it's going to rain at some point of this Grand Prix. So it's certainly going to spice things up. That's going to be very, very interesting to see when it rains, and how hard it rains, and what tire compounds these drivers are going to have to adapt to, what strategies they are going to have to adapt to. Will they take a double Hypersoft stint before going to the rain? Will they pit earlier, try to undercut, and then go for the rain on that? Because of course, if you pit early, but for example, if it rains at lap 15, you might take a shot at pitting a bit earlier, not going so hard on the tires on the first stint, and they're cutting up a couple people, and then trying to make a gap that people can't really get close to you if you are consistent enough, and after that you get safely through the rain period and everything normalizes with you in front, perhaps. So yeah, everything is up in the air at the moment. We don't know exactly what is the estimated time of arrival for the rain, but that's certainly going to spice things up. We're going to take a look, as you guys can see, once again, not the greatest performance from the Ferrari boys. Bialuk and Beefs are in 13th and 14th respectively, and yeah, again, they are not really coming back with a good qualifying performance, especially after that weak performance at Singapore. No points scored between none of them. One of them crashed out on a battle with their teammate, and the other one, I don't remember what happened, but I do remember he was forced to retire as well. So unfortunately for them, not the greatest form they are at the moment. At Italy, we also had a 0-point weekend for the Ferrari, so it's going to be a tough season for them if they don't improve their performances. Now everyone's getting themselves to their slots on the grid. And by the way, if I have to cough or anything, I'm recovering from my sickness. I'm still not 100%, but I'm good enough to commentate, hopefully. So let's get to it. I still have a bit of a slight cold. Let's see how it goes. We're getting ready now. And there you have it. We now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights. Lights out, and away we go for the Russian Grand Prix. There was a jump start from P-Tech Sim Racer. Zor gets a good start, Jensen gets a good start, Valtteri gets a better start than all of them combined. He's already in P2, he's going to challenge Jensen into turn 1. He couldn't tuck himself behind the wing of the Williams, but it's going to be the last of the late breakers. It might be 3 wide into turn 1. There is contact between Zor and Valtteri as well. Zor takes to the escape road. Looks like half of the pack got themselves through the escape road on that one as Zor gets himself past. Valtteri was down to P3. Neudreit was going to challenge him, but now Valu takes a look at the inside. The corner cuts a bit too much there, and Kawa is going to take a look. There's someone on the wall. That's Bialuk, as the Croatian is on the wall and is out of this Grand Prix. We still have people getting very wide out of the corners, abusing the track limits quite a bit there, but looks like everything has normalized. We have Jensen leading, followed by Zori Valtteri in P3, Neudreit in 4th, Kawa in 5th, Value in 6th, with a bit of a tail happy moment there as Black Reverse is going to try and take advantage of that. Let's see. P-Tech Sim Racer, of course, he got himself a penalty, I believe it was a stop and go penalty for jumping this start. He's going to maybe have a run at a Black Reverse. No, he does not at the moment. So let's take a look at everyone behind. Leglaf is very close to Videoton, but not close enough to try anything at the moment. We have a position swap between Valu and the Black Reverse. Valu is having a bit of trouble managing his rear tires on the opening laps of this Grand Prix, as the Chronicle Pug is also out of the race, unfortunately for the pole of the Haas. He got himself a very good start, or a very good qualifying, but he finds himself out of the race. The Sim Racer is going to the pits, maybe trying to get the time penalty out of the way, as we have Valu going to take a look at Black Reverse. Black Reverse tries to deny the slipstream and going on the heavy braking zone for turn 2. No swaps occurred there, so we are going to take a look further on the pack. Videoton is a bit on no man's land at the moment, as much as he can be on these early laps of the race. Diary started the race on the softs. Dal, Rat, JJS and Biffs are starting on the ultra soft, so yeah, maybe those guys who started on the softs might not have to pit until the rain comes. Do you imagine that if those who started on the softs and the ultra softs become the leaders by the time the rain comes and people have to switch into the intermediate tires? That would be an amazing turn of events, I'll tell you right now. Moving to the front of the pack, we still have Jensen trying to pull away from the Frenchman as they combined have a 1.5 second gap to Valtteri. Neudreit might try to line up the shack for a pass, but not at the moment, as Black Reverse gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That's unfortunate. Bialuk left the lobby entirely, unfortunately for him. Not an improvement on his weekend compared to the past couple of weekends. So I was saying I was hoping Ferrari to come back strong, representing the horse, but yeah, not the greatest performance there. As I can see, I believe I can see, yes, there are some drops of rain over the Sochi Autodrome. The rain is coming down. Let's see now how long it takes for the drivers to have to change for the intermediate compounds, as Valtteri gets challenged by Neudreit on the inside of turn 2. He might go for a switchback. Looks like he got a better exit. We're now going on a drag race through the turn number 3. Valtteri gets the inside and the shorter run. Now let's see, it's going to be a heavy braking zone into turn 4. Neudreit gets a bit squeezed to the inside, but Valtteri retakes 3rd place. A brilliant re-overtaking maneuver there. Brilliant job from Valtteri to maintain 3rd place under his belt. We also had JJS swapping positions with Sticer, but the Renault driver is not giving up at the moment, but he might get challenged by, who was that? By Beefs, picking up some pieces, maybe. Oh my god, maybe that was a lag moment, but that Ferrari was pretty darn sideways there. So we're going to jump to Zores. I are going through the second DRS zone now. DRS is finally available for the drivers to use, and he got awfully close to Jensen, even though there was a bit of a tank slapper there. Thank god Zor was able to catch that one. Quick reactions and quick hands on the Frenchman to maintain that McLaren within the barriers and to be able to keep himself on the race. Norderate wasn't able to overtake Evil Kiwi through the second DRS zone. So it's still third and fourth for these two. Now let's see who gets the better exit. I believe Zor is going to have a chance at overtaking Jensen. He's half a second back. Will it be close enough? No, actually, it doesn't look like so. So let's take a look at Neuer right now. He's also too far away from Evil Kiwi, as you have the retirement from Leglaf. Ironically enough, he was speaking in the group chat before the race. When will I be able to finish a race? I usually bottle it. And there he goes and puts it in the wall once again. Poor Irishman. The Mercedes team are having a quite rough season. As you guys can see, some difficulties there from Neuer to keep his car under control. The rear not being too compliant through turn number 3. And we are going to take a look at some other cars that might be close to their competitors. We have Valu very close to Black Reverse as we get through corner number 6, I believe this is. But no opportunity to overtake at the moment. I believe the Belgium will also have DRS from Kawe, and there is a bit of a moment there from the Finn. I'm sure he's used to the snow, but not out sideways that Red Bull got. I'm sure he's used again to the slippery conditions, but of course these cars have a lot of torque even in relatively high gears, and he lost any chance of getting close to a Black Reverse. So we have some yellow flags. There is one. Is that Evil Kiwi? Yes, it is Kiwi. Kiwi is turned around. There's also JJS round. It's exactly the same spot. What is going on between the Toro Rossos and the Red Bulls? Evil Kiwi, it looks like JJS is having an awful amount of trouble getting out of there. Evil Kiwi, I don't know if he got any sort of damage to his car. Is he going to the pits? It does look like he's going to the pits indeed. He must be right on the time to go for intermediates. Double G was the first of the drivers to go and get the green walled intermediates on his McLaren. And there we have Evil Kiwi. Unfortunately, that was a major mistake from Evil Kiwi in that transition. Of course, you come from a very high speed, you are trying to slow down the car while you are still turning in, and the car just got out of balance and he finds himself down in P12 at the moment. Doesn't look like he repaired his front wing. Maybe he did not get any contact and was able to avoid that one despite spinning. Fortunately for him, we have then BTEC Sim Racer as the Toro Rosso guys decided to stack their cars. JJS is also on the pits for a set of intermediates. Dahl is entering the pits to get a fresh set of Hypersofts, as Double G also retires from the race. Unfortunately for him, Rat gets himself a 3-second time penalty. He's currently in 10th place. Let's see how that one develops until the end. Looking now to the front of the pack, we have Zor. He has been trying to catch up to the Dane of the Williams, and he has been consistently under 5 tenths of a second, as he had another sideways moment from Zor, but he has been able to keep himself within a second of the Dane of the Williams, but never close enough for an overtaking attempt. And you guys can see the rain is coming in quite hard. These guys definitely made one lap too far into their stints. Now it's going to be interesting to see. Does anyone? No. Okay, no one exceeds the pit limits. No one got that corner cutting time penalty for going into the pit lane, which sometimes happens on this track. So we have Jensen, we have Zor, we have Neuderate. Let's see how it goes. He gets rid of the purple tires, gets the intermediates on. We have Zor as well, getting rid of those. He got that was just a bit of a lag moment as Jensen gets himself, I don't know what happened there, maybe he got held up, but Zor is in the lead of this Grand Prix. What a disastrous pit stop by the Williams crew. They are usually in real life one of the quickest, at least to try to counteract how bad their car is, but not today. Maybe someone slipped getting out of the pits carrying the tires, because of course it's slippery not only on track but also on the pit lane. But yeah, something catastrophically bad happened to that pit crew. Jensen gets himself dropped to P2, Neuderate gets P3, then you have Black Reverse doing an amazing job once again. He's still equaling his best finish of the race so far, as he is in 4th, Kawe is in 5th, then you have Valu in 6th, Evil Kiwi in 7th, Tyser in 8th, Rat in 9th, so Rat jumped Videoton in the pits. I believe the Alfa Romeo boys decided to stack between Videoton and Overspeed as Diary in the second Force India is in 13th, and JJS, after that very embarrassing moment, finds himself in last place. Just as I say that, JJS gets past. So we are going to take a look, just scanning down the gaps. Looks like the two cars that are closer to each other are Jensen and Zor, and Jensen is just slightly below a second. So that's going to be interesting to see how that one goes, as Biffs has retired from the race. So another double retirement from the Ferrari this season, unfortunately for them. So unfortunately they are once again with a 0-point weekend. I was expecting them to come back strong because they had a rather good beginning of the season, especially Bielyuk. But since Belgium, after he got 8th place at Belgium, he hasn't finished a race. Biff got 4th at Italy, and he hasn't finished Singapore, and is not finishing Russia as well today. So that's unfortunate. As you guys can see now, Jensen is going to try to hunt down Zor. I don't know who out of these two have the best wet weather skills, or maybe who practiced this track in the wet the most. But let's see. We are going to see Jensen, as guys, if you guys have been monitoring, Jensen looks like he has a much more stable car. At least his driving has been allowing the car to keep himself much more stable, as Zor got a very airy moment on the transition to turn 4 as he gets wide through turn 5 there, and Jensen is going to say thank you very much and get himself past to first place. One of the easiest overtaking maneuvers Jensen has had on this league so far. So it's going to be Zor now going to be playing catch up once again, trying to catch up to Jensen. So looking once again, scanning through the order, we have JJS who overtook Diary and he's been catching up to Overspeed. It's going to be interesting to see in the next couple laps how that one develops, as JJS is sideways once again. And is he on the wall? No, he's not on the wall, but he did go very sideways, both him and Overspeed. Maybe those ballasts on those ballast settings are a bit too high for their comfort in this rain. Maybe they didn't practice any rain weather racing, but both Overspeed and JJS got overtaken by Diary, who just sees an Alfa Romeo and a Red Bull out of the track and gets himself through to P12. Now jumping once again further on the pack, we have Videoton, who has been closing in on Rat. It's the first time he is above 11th place, or I mean not on a race, but of course as you guys, as I take a look at my data, Rat did not start Austria, did not finish Silverstone, got 11th at Germany, a retirement at Hungary, a retirement at Belgium, 11th at Italy, and 11th at Singapore. So as you guys can see, Rat hasn't been able to break into the point-paying positions at the end of a race. So it might be his first opportunity to do it today. Videoton lost a 10th through the previous last sector, and Rat survives a bit once again. So yeah, we're going to keep tabs on these two to see how that battle develops. So we're going to jump ourselves to Zor, as he's currently still half a second. Once again, he's just maintaining himself half a second away from Jensen the entire race, apart from that pit stop where he got the lead off of the mechanics working quicker. JJS gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings, which is understandable considering the amount of times he has been out of the track so far. He's going to get, he hopefully doesn't get himself any more penalties than that, and maybe, just maybe, if he could get himself on the right track. He has almost 20 seconds of a gap to Diary.